Good morning, folks. We are going to kick off this scouting season with the Farmable app with the team that we've brought in from Farmable. Hi there. And this is really an onboarding and introduction to help folks learn how to use the app, learn the basic functionality, and learn about the data sharing components of it. So I'm now going to hand it over to Kay from Farmable, who can walk us through a bit.
That's great. Hi, good morning, everybody. Thanks for waking up early and joining us. I've also invited Russell Davison, who is my colleague at Farmable, and together we're supporting growers like yourselves get onboarded into Farmable. So I just want to kick off with just a few slides. Promise not to be more than 5 minutes max of slides, and then we get right into using the app and answering any questions. So the purpose of today is really to get everybody involved in an IPM monitoring program that we're doing as a collaboration with the University of Vermont and the Vermont Tree Fruit Growers Association. Hopefully you've heard a little bit about Farmable by now, but we are a data platform that has been designed by orchard growers, and we're working with growers all around the world, basically to make it easy to collect and share data. So what we're going to talk about today is primarily IPM, and basically how you get started with taking IPM notes in the Farmable app. And to do that, you've got to basically create a farm account, map at least one field, and then you can take notes in that field. Russell's going to take us through that in a demo in just a few minutes. When we go through the demo, you are extremely welcome and encouraged to just ask questions anytime you need. This session is really for you to make sure all of your questions get answered and you feel comfortable using the tool and secure really in knowing where your data is used. Growers own their own data, so anything you put in this tool is owned by you, and I'm going to show you how you'll be requested to share that data with the Vermont Tree Fruit Growers Association, and that's really within your control what and when you share. Okay. All right. So mostly what we're going to go over today is the note feature. We actually have two different types of features for notes. One is a regular note that Russell will talk you through, which can truly be used for anything. All of our notes allow you to have, of course, text, but also photo, a GPS pin right on your map. So you know exactly, where in your farm that node is connected to. And we make it easy for you to share directly from a note in the app. So if you want to immediately share a note you took over WhatsApp or your phone messaging tool, you can do that immediately. Okay. A monitoring note is slightly more specific. It's got a little bit more features to it in that you can talk specifically about what kind of pest and disease you're monitoring. You can take an estimate of a disease or a trap count and add it right there. We graph that data over time, and you can see that within the monitoring note portion of the app. So it's just there's a little more detail in a monitoring note, and it's really meant for IPM. Okay, the Vermont Tree Fruit Growers Association they are participating in what we call an enterprise platform where they can aggregate data across growers, which is fantastic for their for learning and using the data for research purposes. So in order for the Tree Fruit Growers Association to have access to the data, there will be a request. So once you have set up your farm on Farmable, we have asked that you basically flag that to Terry or Madeline, and then they know that they can add you into the program. What happens when they add you to the program is that you'll receive a notification like this in the Farmable app that says VTFGA requests access to your farm data. Once you hit continue on that button, there's a series of different options you have for turning different types of data on and off. And this is really for you to choose what you'd like to share with Terry, Madeline, and Jessica. Okay. You can also change what you decide to share based on crop category. So we have certain growers who maybe they've mapped and they're managing 3 or 4 different crop categories, and the only thing that's relevant for this purpose might be, for example, apples or whatever's most relevant. So if you've got things that are out of scope, you can just select which crop categories you want to share data on. What's missing from this screen right here today is the word notes, because this is a relatively new feature that we've built. So Terry, when I give you the green light in a couple days' time, it's because we've added the notes feature here, and every time you add a grower, they'll be able to toggle on share notes. Okay. Then I just wanted to give a quick summary of really what's included for the grower when they're using the Farmable app. Right now, if anyone's on the call and they haven't had a chance to download the app, you can scan this QR code. You can download it right now. It's available on Apple and on Android, and you can follow along as we go. And we're going to get into mapping your farm, showing you the 2 different types of notes. Being a part of the program also allows Terry and Madeline to send you suggestions from the enterprise solution, so they can basically give reminders or recommendations on what's happening. You can receive that, and you can do as you like with it as a farm manager. You can decide, okay, great, I want to actually action a task based on Terry's advice, or you can just read it and delete it. You're in full control. We'll also talk about how you can add different team members. So the account that everybody has on Farmable, you can map unlimited number of acres, and you can add as many people as you like. And that includes adding someone like Terry or Madeline as an advisor on your individual farm. So that's also an option that you have if there are growers who would like to do that specifically.
Okay, I'd like to put in a point of clarification
Sure.
or explanation here. Can you explain very clearly the differences between farmer, advisor, and enterprise coordinator, I guess would be the terminology?
Yeah, sure. So essentially for an individual farm, right, we have the one who owns that account. They are in charge of making decisions around, they own the data, and they are really in control of deciding who comes into that account. So that's really the farm owner role. And farm owner can add as many different users to a Farmable farm account as they like. So that could be an advisor. It could be what we call crew, which is meant to be operators who might perform certain tasks. Right? Can also be farm managers. So if we've got farm owners here with us today, and they've got, maybe a slightly larger operation with a couple of farm managers or site supervisors, they can come in as a farm manager role. So that's, I think for the grower, that's really the most important thing that they need to know, is that they are typically the farm owner, and they can add as many different people as they like to that account. And there's 3 role types there. A crew, so that's the lowest, that's an operator. They really only they'll see the map, and they'll see tasks that can be assigned to them if they choose to use that feature. An advisor is somebody that you can invite into a farm that has access to recommend tasks. They can view notes, but they basically don't execute any task unless it's assigned to them. And then a farm manager sits underneath what we call the farm owner role, and they really have quite a lot of authority in the farm account in terms of their data permission. They can create tasks, they see all the notes, they can delegate work to others. So those are basically the 3 permission settings within that. Everything related to the enterprise account, I really think about as being connected to you, Terry, in the Vermont Tree Fruit Growers Association. So that's for Terry and Madeline. And I think Jessica, you'll likely have access there as well. But that's really where you can see aggregated data. So for all the individual farm accounts, we can bring that all together. Yeah, and you can look at the data as the permission has been granted by each individual farm. And you can use that, for your own purposes. Okay. This is my last slide, and then we're going to jump into, so we're going to focus today on the IPM piece, getting into the app, maps, notes, making sure everybody understands how to configure their account for that. In the last chat we had, there were some questions about Farmable Pro. This is a paid upgrade that is available, and I mention it because you all, as a part of this program, have a steep discount for the 2026 season. So up until the end of the year, you have access to try Farmable Pro for only $149. That's for the entire farm for the year, and that gives you access to other features within Farmable. This is all completely optional, but just for your awareness that is part of the offer that we have this year with the Vermont Tree Fruit Growers Association. And if there's interest in learning more about these features, we can run another session, or you can reach out to myself or Russell individually, and we can take that then. Okay. I will stop there. Before maybe we just flip over to Russell and have him start a demo, are there any questions from the group? Any particular items you'd like us to make sure we talk about?
Recording in progress.
Is this the time to ask app-specific questions, or are we getting that kind of thing later?
You know what? You might as well go ahead and kick us off, Sean, with your question.
Hi, everybody.
And then we have it, and we'll make sure we kind of get to it as we go through the demo, okay?
Yeah. I haven't gotten the chance to really dig into the app too much. I've just got it signed in here now. But as I'm looking, I don't even know what tier plan Champlain Orchards, who I'm with, is got right now. That GPS job specifically, is that using the GPS location off the phone, or does that need like an RTK module on the tractor or something like that?
It's just using your phone GPS.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I see that. Great. And then I guess, and the only other question I have immediately is, as I'm sitting here, like drawing boxes around rows and rows and rows of trees, is to do lines of plantings. I assume there's like a more granular step later on. Is there a way to do this on the desktop, or is it just the phone?
Just in the phone at the moment. If you've got digital field maps, we can import them as well. There's another way.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, we do have a bunch of that stuff on like mymaps.google.com. And that's kind of where I'm at, is migrating all that stuff. So if there's an easy way to import that, that would be great.
Yeah, I can show the step to import fields once we finish doing the app, if you like. Just converting it into a GeoJSON, and you should be able to upload it and add the field details on the desktop, which makes it a bit easier.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Okay, I think that's all that I have questions about right now. Thank you.
All good. Anyone else?
I have a quick question just about I'm pretty rural and service is pretty spotty, and GPS works well. When I haven't taken, I got the app going, but I've been inside. I haven't taken it outside. And am I going to have any problems adding notes in the field?
You will. The app works. It's all cloud-based, so it wants to upload to the cloud when you're creating a note. But you can if you take your photos in the field, come back to where you do have service, you can create the note after the fact and drop a pin where you were. That's the solution at the moment. We are investigating offline notes, but it takes a lot of the smart features out of the software, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
All right. Any other questions before we jump into? Do you want to see if you can get your phone screen up there, Russell?
Let me share screen.
But that was a good point, Sean, about the uploading if you have a digital field map, we can upload that, and you can even upload it yourself. There's a self-serve portal for that, and we can show that.
Great.
As well today.
Sorry, everyone. It's just not letting me cast the... Here we go. I'm in. Sorry. Okay. Can we see that now? Yep. Beautiful. So I guess when you first download the app, you create a farm, just name your farm, create a profile, log in, and you'll be greeted with a map of close to where you're standing. So when you're drawing your fields, basically just hit the plus icon. We want to add a field, and then we can just toggle this little dot around to draw our field boundaries. You can see the top left hand side there. It's giving us an acreage, so you can get it to be as good as you want. Once you're happy with it, you can just hit finish. You can adjust the boundaries by playing around with the dots. But once you're happy with that, you just hit next, and then we name the field. So you'll get the option to choose whether you're growing in rows, an open field, in greenhouses, or some people are doing some eco zones and things like that for different governments and whatnot. But if we hit rows, it's suggesting a few crops that I've already created fields for, but we basically got all crop categories in here. So we can just choose our apples. We hit next. We put in a variety, and then you can choose a percentage. So if we were growing a couple of different varieties in the field, you can break it down by a percentage. You can add as many as you want. So you could go to 10% of something, 90% of something, or whatever. And that's really to do with the spray calculator and getting those things correct. That's all it takes to create the field, but you might see in details here, we can add some more. So we can give it a field ID. We can work in a canopy height as well. If you wanted to work with a leaf wall area for spraying, if you were looking at that sort of thing. the distance between rows, the total number of trees in the field, the distance between the plants in the rows. You can also add in here the supplier details as well, production method, whether you're using IPM or conventional organic, and any comments you wanted to put. So we can hit save on that. Sorry. Any questions on creating the field?
Yeah, real quick, if you're trying to edit it after the fact, I was having trouble trying to figure out how to like add that fifth point or something like that. What's the trick to changing that shape after the fact, just getting it to recognize your input?
You can undo. So if you go back to undo, it'll take you back a step.
Okay.
And then you should be able to redraw, put a fifth point like that.
Well, say like you were happy with the general shape, but you wanted to just like nudge a corner after you'd already like finished it. Can you go back in and edit it? Is it just tapping those corner points to move them?
Oh, sorry, I forgot you can't see my thumb.
Yeah, well, maybe my hands are too clammy this morning. I don't know.
No, yeah. If you hold down, tap and hold down, sort of near those corner dots.
Okay.
It should let you just drag those lines in and out like that.
Cool. Thank you.
And then finish. So once you've got the field in place, that is really the focal point for where all your data gets stored. We look at it as a field by field app in a way. So you'll notice all these tabs here. You've got, your jobs, profitability, hours, costs, what crops growing in there. Everything relates back to that field. So you'll be able to compare field on field and things like that. So to take a note, which we're mainly talking about today, you can do that from the main plus launch button, or you can also click on a field and add a note. So a couple of different ways of getting there. So this is what we call the standard note. You'll notice at the top there we've got, for some reason the phone keeps shutting down, a standard note or a monitoring note. So we can just go to standard note. This is a free text. You can copy and paste. You can put whatever you like in there. The little plus icon on the side lets us, take a photo or select an image from the library. We can pin the exact location of where we're standing. We can use labels. So a lot of people use, different labels to sort of bunch the notes together in a folder, I guess you'd say, which will let you search via those notes later. And then another good one, which is probably appropriate for Terry and everyone, is to have a cause associated with a note. If you're doing specifically monitoring and stuff like that, we can tag a cause in the note.
So we had discussed this earlier, that we'll be sending in a cause list so that there would be a standard set of drop downs. So if you have like a capitalization difference or something like that, apple scab will always be apple scab. I think that's an important piece. So we'll be sending that in, and will that show for all the members of the enterprise group?
Yep.
Great.
Yep. So we'll hard code a list of causes that everyone can use, and that way there won't be double ups and things. So,
Russell, would you mind going back? I didn't catch how you got to the sort of more sophisticated part of the create note. Like I create a note and it just says note, and then I write something and I don't really have any options.
this little bit here.
Yeah, like the images and exact location. I don't see that coming up when I do a note, so
Yeah.
I must be doing something wrong.
It's a bit hidden, and I blame the fancy UI designers for this, but that little plus icon there next to the AI health check, if you click on that, it'll give you the option to add those other
Okay.
features to it.
Okay.
That's a good point. I think it needs to be more visible, but I'll take that.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought it was like, oh, that's going to take me to pro, so I'm not doing it. Thank you. That's helpful.
You're right. No worries. We won't go into the AI health check now, but that's something as part of our pro module. It just gives you a bit of a, it can use all the previous data from that field, whether it's been a treatment and the yield and stuff like that, and then it can build a bit of a, a bit of a ChatGPT spiel for you about upcoming weather events and due to past pest and disease pressure and the fact that you treated last year and all that kind of stuff. So it's interesting. The other one to do is a monitoring note, which allows you to give a monitoring estimate or a trapping count. So if you've got trapping positions, once we pin the location here, you'll be able to always go back to that trapping location on the map and then add another monitoring event in the next day or the next week or however often we're scheduling them.
And this is the function that we'll be using with this group for collecting our monitoring data. So we'll be logging these under monitoring notes specifically.
Okay, beautiful. So monitoring, and like Terry mentioned before, we'll have a hard-coded list of causes coming. Then we can just punch in the trap estimate, a free text comment again, like a standard note, and we've got the position in the field, and then we just save it. So we can see there's a little squiggly line on that field now, and when you click on that, we've got the start of our graph there. So we've got a 20 count on today's date, and we can go to the list as well and see it listed like that. So when as part of this program, I guess, you can always go to this top right-hand side and turn off monitoring or turn on monitoring. If we came straight back to this trap position, instead of going into the notes like we did before, we can just add new, and then we can just give another count. So if this was the next day, it would look a lot better, but we just put a new count, we hit save, and then it's going to be a mess because we've now counted those on the same day. But if they were on previous days, we'd see the pest pressure rising.
Is there a way for us to edit the date? Because I imagine some people are going to be collecting, say you don't have good cell service or any cell service, and you collect on a piece of paper, or you have someone else who's made an observation, you enter it the next day or something. Is there a way to change that?
Yeah, that was something we discussed, and I hope is in this release we're waiting for on Friday to be able to backdate the date for notes. Yep. So you can always come into here and see all of your notes. You can filter them via field if you wanted to, filter them by the label, look for a specific cause. But sometimes the easiest is just straight on the map. You'll see those monitoring locations and be able to add to them.
One thing important for this group to note is, especially since Farmable is kind of configuring this specifically for us and building out some of this platform, is going to be important to make sure that we keep up the app updated, because there's going to be an app in 2 days, or there's going to be an update in 2 days. There could be another update in a week or two. So I think that's an important thing, is to fairly regularly update. Maybe I will make a point to send a message out to folks when I notice that there's an update, that everyone just update the app in whatever their app store is they use.
Yeah, good point. That's good. It's, as long as everyone's on the current version, it usually limits the amount of little issues you can have and the app's usually pretty good at telling you when there's a new version to download.
You can also have the auto update
Yeah.
enabled as well, but that's to everyone's own discretion if they want that turned on or not.
Yeah. Like Kay talked about a little bit, you can come into your farm settings, which is the little spinning wheel up the top left-hand side, top of the app. And if you come down, there's lots of different things you can add here, but the main thing is the members tab. So in here is where we can add different people to your farm. So this is still talking about your farm account, not sending data. This is people that are working on your farm. So you can add, another manager if you wanted to, just using an email. You can add an advisor. So the advisor will be able to see notes that have been taken, any jobs that are related to the crop category that you've given them access to. And then crew members can execute jobs for you, and they can take field notes. So if you wanted to send someone out just to do trap counts, you can create them as a crew member and get them to go and do that. Then we've got the data sharing. So if you look into, this is somewhere you can come later on. When you're invited by Vermont, you'll be able to tick that you want to share notes. And then it's up to you if you've got a relationship where you wanted to send a job for approval or advice on, or allow an advisor to give recommendations. You could choose to change some of this data sharing and share something else if you wanted to. So you can toggle those permissions on and off at any time.
So the growers will see, you can just go back to that screen there, Russell. Each one of you, once you've created your farm account and you've told Terry, hey, Terry, I've got my farm account on Farmable, Terry will add you to the Vermont Tree Fruit Growers Association, and that will be listed under sharing permissions. You'll see Vermont Tree Fruit Growers Association. Click on that here under sharing permissions, and then you will adjust these. And the notes section will be added here within the next 2 days. And that's really, I think we could say, Terry, the things that are mandatory here is you have to share fields. So we see the map and all the data in Farmable is always connected back to a field. So you see that's kind of grayed out, because if you're sharing something, you have to include the fields. But then you can choose to share the notes, and anything else. So Terry, will kind of leave it up to you then to request if there's anything beyond notes, right, that you feel would be particularly helpful for the growers to share.
I have a quick question on the notes section. So as I understand it, the notes, there's a notes tab, there's a monitoring tab, and the notes can be anything that I see that I'm taking note of, but it's the monitoring tab that for this particular program, that's where I want to have all my information that I'm sending to UVM within. Is that correct? Or, I mean, I will be sharing my notes with UVM, whether it's notes or monitoring, but just so that, I guess, for Terry and UVM's purpose, making sure that the information that growers are giving is clear for them. Is that a question?
Yeah, that's the way I understand it. And then it's a lot easier for Terry just to filter via monitoring notes in the data. And that way it'll separate from a standard note from the count and the program you're doing now.
Does that answer your question, Jessica?
Yeah, I think so. And I guess my other question is, Terry, is that where you want this specific data sent to you, so to speak? Like, I guess my question is making sure that UVM gets what they need.
Yeah, I think it's as long as we're keeping the scouting material, the monitoring stuff under monitoring notes, then I can go in, and when someone's got a question, if they're part of the group, I can just sort by your farm, and then I can look at what your notes are. You don't have to send me anything as long as they're going to the same place. You just allow that access. Yep.
Great. Thanks.
No other questions?
Yeah, I got another question here. you guys mentioned that there's going to be a hard-coded list of causes so that there's no discrepancies in any of those entries. Is that also true for the products and treatments that'll be coming along?
So we were talking about this morning. I'm one thing that gets complicated is, Captan. Which brand of or product of Captan are we using this year?
What formulation?
Yeah, and it can depend on what's in the warehouse up in Addison when the truck comes in. So we can I can set up a product list, and we started looking. We can pull it straight from the EPA list, so we don't have to the less we have to enter stuff by hand, the better. So I'll start off with kind of a standard list of what most folks use. If you put everything on there, it's going to get really cluttered really fast. But if I think there's standard products that we will add, and then we'll have to enter stuff that's outside of that. Is that what makes sense to you, developers?
Yeah, I think that works, Terry. Yeah. But I think, Russell, if you don't mind sharing your screen there one more time. And
the phone?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yep. No worries.
I just thought it's maybe good to put some context on that, so that if you're on the app right now and you go to that settings section, you go to the cog up at the top there, some of the first items you see there are products and causes. And I think that's really what I'm hearing from the group, is that we'd like to try and standardize. Yeah, if you just go up to the settings there, Russell. Just to give context to everybody.
If there's not something in the drop-down, though, just copy it as the EPA has it listed, I guess, and it'll be consistent, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is a question, I guess, for the developers here. If there's a way to tag an EPA number, then we know we're talking about the same material.
Yeah, so if you create that list, yeah, there you go, Russell.
It's bugging out every time I press it because of there we go.
Yeah, there. So the first two items where Russell just was, you've got your products and you've got your causes. And what we can create is a uniform list of causes and a uniform list of products, right, for Vermont. So just to show you that, guys. So we don't have that all. We need some input from Terry here to get that all set up, and we need to configure a few things on our side too. So we'll fix that for you. But when you choose from the government list there, which every product entry here has an EPA number.
Right.
Okay. So Terry, if you can imagine in your enterprise tool, creating a subset of, you choose 30, 40, 50 products, right? And every product item has an EPA number. If growers use that product list, then you're always going to have that EPA number. It doesn't, and then growers can go ahead and they can add other products, but those products should have an EPA number as well. So that part should always be clear. Because yes, it does get tricky with product libraries. Is one of the hardest parts of our job.
I'm sure. If there's a way, because I have it brought up here as well, and there's a number of Captans that I'm looking at. I don't know if you can read that. If there's a way to see the EPA number on the drop down screen, that would be handy. I don't know if we can have that as displayable.
That's good feedback.
Yeah,
because I've got Captan Gold ADWDG and I've got Captan Gold XL, and Captan Gold. Well, I know the 4L, that'll be different. Or Captan ADWDG. Here's a good one: Captan ADWDG and Captan ADWDG fungicide.
Yeah.
Right? So, it would be very useful to be able to select at this point, rather than have to drill down another couple menus to pluck it out.
Yeah, that's a great point. We'll take that one back, Terry. It will be a little easier for you when you set it up because you're using a desktop tool.
Yeah.
But for the daily use by the grower, we can make that better. So thank you for that.
I have sort of an ignorant question, I think. When you share the monitoring data with UVM, and maybe you said this already, is there a way to just tag a particular crop? Because I have crops that I don't think Terry is interested in hearing about, like my black currants and my black raspberries, but I might use the app to monitor. I mean, I might as well put it in when I'm out there anyway and use the same instead of doing my little paper notes. So can the notes be that specific so that they don't have to sort through all Charlotta's weird crops?
Yeah, you'll notice at the top of that data sharing option, there's the ability to just to pick a certain crop. So you only want to show the data from that crop. Yeah.
And this is a question to Terry and your team. Apples is your main focus, right? Pears, plums.
I think you can add in any crop if you'd like.
Okay.
Can you create crops? Lingonberry, right? That probably isn't on a drop down, I'm guessing, but if someone is growing them, can you make that? Can you create that as a tag?
There is a surprising amount of crops in there as a category.
Mm-hmm.
If there's definitely a category that's not in there, just let me know and I can get it added. And then you've got the variety as well. So it's some form of variety of a particular category. You'll find it.
I couldn't find black raspberries yesterday, Russell, but I could have. I need to look again. Yeah.
Black
raspberries. You might be right.
I mean, they're similar to raspberries. I put in raspberries, but they are pretty different.
Mm-hmm.
Way more sensitive than regular raspberries. So
if that's a category, I'll get it added.
Okay. Maybe one just point to clarify as well. When you draw your fields, all of you growers, as when you set up the field, as Russell showed, you have to, like by default, set the category, right? And the variety. And the reason we do that is then when you go in to take a note, we already know, what category and variety that note is for. So that's automatic. So basically when you get those fields set up correctly, then your notes are always going to follow with the correct crop category and variety, which makes it really nice for sharing and reviewing that data. Okay. So that note should already, we already know that note is in this field with this crop category. Russ, I'm not sure if you saw just before you jumped to the desktop, but Lori added a comment on the side chat there about adding photos to the notes. And that's absolutely part. And that button was a little bit tricky. So Lori, if you'd like, we can maybe show you one more time. But basically when you're in the note feature, you can tag a GPS location, you can take an image. Yeah, so you've got text, you've got photo, you've got a GPS location that you grab.
Yes, yeah, photos. Just that plus icon on the right-hand side, it was a bit tricky to see at first. But yeah, no limit to that. I just want to show.
Yeah.
I know Sean had a question about fields before. So as part of your app, your farm app, you can log on through our website and see your farm's dashboard. In here you can see your own logs and spray jobs and different bits and pieces. But in here you can see the field imports, and then you can just upload a field, hit next. We can see there they're ready to import, so you can add the details in here. No black raspberries yet, but I'll get it added. But pick your categories and varieties and then just hit next, and then that'll import them to the field, to the farm. But give me your Sean if you struggle, and we can help you convert them and get them in.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that later on today. I am pretty confident I can get a JSON file out of that pretty easily. So pretty cool. I'm just signing in on the desktop. You had like myfarmable.tech. Was that?
Yeah, go to farmable.tech and then there'll be a login up the top right hand side, and then it'll take you to myfarmable.tech. But
All right.
it'll work.
Seems pretty easy.
Quick question on editing the categories in fields, and maybe this, what you just showed us, Russell, would be the way to do that. I have a question when I like click on one of my fields. When I initially set this up, I think I had just said it's Macintosh. My fields are very mixed variety. So I had noticed when you had walked us through that there was, I could say that it's 50% Macs and 10% this. And is there a way to go back? I was just looking at how to edit that information so I could add, I have 10% peaches and those types of things to make it more specific in the field for my info.
Yep. If you haven't done much, I would probably delete it and start again.
Okay.
The other way is that you can do that sow and plant job. So you could tell it that you're planting, and then you can adjust the percentages that way.
Okay.
But yeah, to get started, I'd go back and just do it properly. Yeah.
I think I did it, and there have been updates to the platform. So when I did it, okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Lori, would it be helpful if we show you one more time how to add a photo to a note? That's quite an important feature. So if that wasn't clear, let's make sure it is.
Onboarding in progress.
So when we go to create node, the field, this plus icon here on the right, so we can add images. We can take a picture right now or use a picture from the library. Could you hear me?
Yeah, what happens when can you just press on the icon, maybe, Russell? So that. Oh, sorry, create note. Good.
And then we hit the plus icon.
Yeah, exactly.
Add images, and then you can either use your camera or a photo from the library.
Yeah, perfect. Other questions? I did have a quick chat with one of our developers while we were just on the call, and I know, Terry, you've mentioned the changing the date on a note, and that is confirmed that will be ready by the end of this week.
Cool.
So that just means, folks, right now, if you go out and take a note, it automatically chooses today's date. But maybe you've take some photos today and you don't remember to actually sit down and write the note until Saturday. When you come in on Saturday, you'll actually be able to enter a note for a different day. We haven't had that yet, but we're updating that.
Great. Well, I think the next steps, I've got next steps in terms of developing some causes and chemicals lists. I think if the folks who are on the call and those who will be viewing the recording are ready to map some of your blocks, if not all of them, and we're not too awful far away from starting to put some traps out. We can have this thing up and ready in time to set our first traps. We did send traps 2 days ago, I think it was. We were waiting on a box of calving moth lures that arrived the day after we mailed the boxes, the traps out. So these will have to be mailed separately. So they should be, keep an eye out. They were shipped U.S. Postal Service, I remember, right, Madeline? So if you've got I don't think anybody here has a PO box, but keep your eyes out for. It's a decent sized box. It's like pretty good sized box. So keep your eyes out for that. And I think we're just ready to try this out.
Yeah, it seems like a nice tool. Thanks for making that. It'll be interesting to see how that helps us out.
Sure thing.
Yeah, maybe I'll just wrap up and say on our side, we really appreciate feedback. So if don't struggle in silence, or if you have feedback, you experience something even just as simple as that plus button or the EPA note. I mean, that's what makes the tool better and better, is that we get growers, from around the world who send us a quick email, with a question or a piece of feedback. And we really, really like that. So I've left our emails there. Russell and I are also, we're on LinkedIn. We can circulate as soon as you send us an email, you have our phone numbers as well. So don't hesitate to reach out and ask a question or give some feedback, because it makes it better for everybody. There's also a whole a help center. So you'll see that on our website. There's a help center full of articles and a YouTube channel with videos. So, you're also welcome to kind of access or just search. If you've got a quick question, you can always try that. First, you'll probably get a quick answer there as well.
Yeah, I want to make a plug for the health center, help center. Many of the questions that you might have, there have been really good videos in particular that are up there. I'll just share this real quick. It's just on the. I'm not logged in. You don't even have to be logged in, actually. Click on this resources help center, and there's quick start guides, there's overviews, it tells you how to set up notes. So this is a great way to just answer a question pretty quickly. Oh, I'm not sharing. There's my share. And that was again under farmable.tech and resources help center. Is there anything else you want me to point out, Russell or Kay, while I've got the site live? I think this is a great kind of go-to for sort of a frequently asked questions.
Yeah, no, I think that's great, Terry. And there is also a chat bot in the app as well. So if you're in the app and you click on your little profile on the top right-hand side, it says support, I think. And generally the AI will do a pretty good job of pointing you towards these articles, whatever the problem is you have. And if it doesn't answer, then usually I get a little message at half an hour later, so I can reply back and get in touch and help you if I can. So that's awesome.
Great. Well, I think we probably covered most of what we're going to cover here. Thanks, everyone. I'm not sure when this next meeting will be, but we're going to have pretty regular communications. It does seem at this point like Wednesday mornings are a good time for us to be touching base, just in terms of our schedules, at least till my semester's done. So when we do schedule, I think this might be a good time, unless people have other suggestions. But I think now it's time to get out and I know we're going to remap our orchards, because I did a very kind of basic one, and I think it's time to go block by block on our side. So look forward to working with you, and unless anyone's got any other questions, I can stop the recording and share it with the others.
Just real quick for me, Terry, or Terrence, sorry, I'm gonna send you an email. I have an email address that's Champlain Orchards domain. Everything's been going to my personal Gmail, which is why I probably didn't hear a response from me. It's all messed up. So I'm just gonna make sure I'm looped in on the correct one sometime
Perfect.
today.
I've wondered about your address. So that's
Yeah.
And there's another one. I think I sent this to some. There's an address I have that's AP at Champlain Orchards. Is that a shortened address? Is that one that
I'm not sure who that is. That might be Adrian.
Okay.
But I'm not sure why she would be involved in this. I saw that question you put out there. I don't know the answer personally.
Yeah, and it might have been a typo. Might have is possible. So
Could have been.
okay.
Super. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.